So in the last stream, we created some wildlife using Emerald AI and Protofactor. So now we're going to add in Crux and have that AI spawn. We're also going to add in some birds. So as we come through the trees here, you'll see some birds flying around and there's some sheep wandering around. Let's take a look at how we did it. Let's go to the sheep and let's make the sheep run away. So that's under temperament. It currently has it set up as passive. I think what I want is cautious, coward, and then I've got to make sure that they are actually detecting the wolves. Oh, I've got to turn on the look at while I'm here. So I want to make sure that I'm actually going to run away. So detection layers needs to be AI. Don't want it on water. And make sure I have my factions set up. They are animal prey and they see the animals as enemy. I think that will be enough. So let's see. No, it's not. Ah, there we go. He is running away. Excellent. Now the sheep won't be able to attack him, right? They've gone out of range there. So now, not the sheep attacking, rather the wolves. Why is he running towards? Oh, I see. He saw that one and ran away. Okay. So I have to stop them doing this weird attack thing. I'm also going to need to speed them up so that they can actually reach the sheep. Because at the moment they're all on default speeds, so the sheep aren't are going to get away easily. So movement, walk speed. Let's put wolves up to maybe 3. And run speed to maybe 7. See what that looks like. I won't worry about walk backwards. Okay, now, why are they doing this strange thing at the beginning of their attack? Maybe it's their temperament. Behavior type cautious, that's the wrong one. I want them aggressive. I think that might do it. Let's see. I haven't read the instructions on that piece, so the help text. Yeah, there we go. That did it. All right. Excellent. And the sheep didn't run away in time. Let's put more sheep in and see if they will run away. Let's spread those out a little bit. Should probably make the wolves eat the sheep once they've killed them as well. That would probably be a good idea. And the other sheep are fleeing. They're chasing off after one. The sheep is fast. I don't think they're going at a different speed, are they? They're not. I finally caught him. I don't think sheep would be that fast. That would be a good chase against a deer, I guess, but probably not very realistic on a sheep. Let's slow the sheep down a little. But that did have the effect that I wanted. Just not sure why the wolves aren't going any faster. But we'll slow the sheep down and then we'll check that out. So, AI settings, movement, and did it at walk speed. We're already quite slow. It's the run speed. I never slowed the run speed down. So let's take the run speed down to about 3.5. They look pretty fast. Those sheep have slowed down, but weirdly... Okay, we're just going to stroll along nicely. The sheep will get tired eventually. That's what the problem is. They're not breaking into a run. It's like they're escorting the sheep. Excellent. All right, so why are they not breaking into a run? For sake of making progress, because I want to put them in the main project, I'm just going to change the default movement to a run. Where was it? Movement. Run. Let's see if that works. And then I'll know whether that's what I actually want to do. Okay, they didn't run away. Yeah, there we go. We're running now. Now, they're going to run everywhere they go, but that's okay. No, they've stopped to walk. Huh. And I don't have any run attacks set up. Maybe set a run attack up. But maybe not. Let's see. Okay, when they don't run away, everything is wonderful. When they run away, we just escort them. That is strange. Okay, I have to admit, I'm a bit confused as to why this is happening. They will run after them up until the point they get close. Let's add a run attack in. No run attack animations. No, I didn't put any in. That's right. So animations. And that would be under combat. Blocking, hit, death. Where's the run animations? Use run attacks. Oh, okay, that's what it is. I had it set as run here, but oh no, I just set it run and it's changed it here, I think. Okay, so go and find an animation that will work. Animals full pack. Oh, that's the sounds. And wolves. FBX. Bite. Oh, are we not got one? Looks like we haven't got one. Let's just put the bite one in for now and see if it solves our problem. Okay, and then go back to our AI settings, scroll down and select our bite, which is already there. Let's give it some damage, 10 to 15. And let's have a look, see if that solves our problem. Well, they are trying to attack, but they're still walking. All right, maybe I've just got the speed set up wrong on the animation then. Oh, and I need to use the other attack because that's the one that I haven't added the attack events to. That's easily resolved because it's in here. Yep, there it is. So if you're not sure what that means, adding the attack events, I did set those up in the last stream. There is an edited version of it on my channel. So if you have no idea what I'm doing with attack events, just go find it. I did put an index in and so on, hopefully for that particular item. All right, so combat actions. Run attacks. Where are they? Oh, I always get lost in here. Damage settings, it should be on, shouldn't it? There we go. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to change it there. I want to change it in the actual animation. So over here, which is the run attack, that one. So if I put the emerald bite one in instead of just bite, that will now do damage, but they will continue to walk instead of run. And they're doing damage, but they're just biting at thin air. Oh, that one just got one while it was running. Okay, good. All right, so that is doing damage now as you work, but they're still walking, which is just weird. I don't know why they're doing that. So I'm going to just save this, and I'm going to start the export happening because I want to make progress, and I can come back to that in time. But we've definitely made progress. We've made the sheep run away, which was the most important thing that I needed to do because they look stupid just sitting there waiting to be attacked. So let's go and put this in here. Wildlife. Yes, that'll take a few moments to export. So I'll switch over to
the actual scene. Now, I just prepared a little bit before starting this stream, and I imported Crux. Crux is a procedural spawner. It's from the same company. All of these warnings, which I find is well, it's a warning that the publisher is not looking after his code. So let me show you how to fix this. I find it horrific that a publisher updates his assets and doesn't make his own assets compatible. That's hugely problematic, in my opinion. So it's these two lines here. It's this one and this one. And I'm not using the Magic Effects pack, so I simply commented out these lines. If you are using the Magic Effects pack, well, I don't know what you would do. But hopefully the publisher will fix it soon. I haven't reported it yet. I would assume that he tests his own assets, or they test their own assets with their own assets, but maybe not. Looks like that might not be the case. So let's just see this import go through, and hopefully we will be running, and the export is completed. Yep, there we go. We're now running, just a few warnings. So now here is my exported wildlife package. So let's drag that in with the updates. Move over to the project. And let's see if our sheep and wolves are behaving the way they should be. Now, this scene, if you haven't seen this before, this is just the demo scene in Nature Manufacturer's Meadow pack. I'm using it as a quick way to get things tested. It is a great pack if you don't have it. It is in the current sale, so I'd recommend going and looking at it. Any of the Nature Manufacturer stuff is good if you want realistic vegetation. It really is fantastic, especially his most recent, which is the mountains. It really is beautiful, even in standard pipeline, which is what I'm using here, the built-in pipeline. And we'll take a look to see if our wolves are attacking. Let's see. Can't remember where my wolves are. I can't remember how I've this scene set up from last week. I think, yeah, I have the auto camera on. So what happens here is the auto camera will just fly around the scene. We have a bunch of sheep here, but I don't think we've got any wolves nearby. So rather than go by hoping to see the animals, let's place some wolves and some sheep right at the beginning here. So let's go to where the camera is and put some wolves and sheep in. I'm just trying to get my bearings. Okay, there's the camera frustum. Go get our sheep. Oh, that's animations. Oh, come on, where are my prefabs? There we go. Sheep. There's a sheep. And another sheep, and another sheep, and then we'll put a few wolves in too. And hit play. Okay, YouTube is telling me it's not getting a good signal, but it looks okay from my end. Let me know in chat if there's a problem here. Okay, I've taken control here, put it into photo mode, but unfortunately it's paused the time. So I'm just going to change that setting. It allows me to fly around and take photos if I want. It's this photo session thing here. Just increase the time scale. This is an open source project called Photo Session. It's available on GitHub and is great. It's really useful for easily seeing what's going on in a scene, but also taking photographs, literally taking a photograph. You can see I have focus and so on. So there we go. We are attacking. He's not running away. That's interesting. Why is it not brought the setup? The sheep aren't running. We're just running around and killing them. That's how it was set up last week. So why has that not come across with the import? Let's have a look at that. Prefabs, sheep. So we changed the temperament. Yeah, it's not brought the updates in. Why is it not brought the updates in? Oh, you know what? I never applied the damn changes to the prefab, did I? What a fool. Let me just go back to this because I forgot to apply the prefab settings to all of these. You just need one sheep and all of the wolves and hit apply all. And then I'll start an export going so I don't forget that. So let's start that import again. This is now with the export with the changes saved to the prefab. And let's have a look at this sheep now. Temperament, cautious, it's brought the changes in. All right, hit play. This time, it should work. Okay, yep, there we go. The sheep are running away. The wolf is attacking. He's still walking, so that error that we saw before is still there, but he's running when the sheep are not running, or rather he's running when he's away from the sheep. So it's something to do with his proximity. But I'll figure that out later because now I want to get to the point of automatically spawning these in. So let's just delete all those. We're going to do this with Crux. Crux is an AI spawner. What it does is it basically spawns AI according to probability rules that I'll show you how to set up in a moment, if I can remember, around the player, or in this case, the camera. So what we're going to need to do here is create a new Crux system. I have not used this for ages, so I hope I'm going to be able to remember it, but that creates this object inside of the system, and I've got to tell it who my player is. Well, that's easy. It's my camera. And all these things we're going to use as default, leave as default, I should say. Now, there's a couple of changes that I need to make to the AI themselves, and we're just going to start off by doing sheep and wolves, and then we'll add the others later. But it's in optimize, I think. Yeah, this line here, spawned with Crux. It'll still work if you don't change that over. It just makes it a little bit more efficient if you do. It allows Crux to control whether or not the AI is animating and things like that. So you get, if you've got a lot of AI in the scene, you get a little boost in FPS because of that. So that is not required, but very definitely recommended. I don't know why it isn't automatic, right? Because the sheep itself knows. I guess this is just because it's on the prefab, but I would rather I spawned it and it just said to itself, oh, I've been spawned by Crux. Okay, I'm going to optimize with Crux. But for some reason, you have to do it in the prefab beforehand. So that's that part. So we go back to Crux now. We're going to leave all the spawning options as standard for now. And then we're going to go to our spawn IDs. And we're going to go to biome management. And we've got to create a new biome. We're going to make these wolves and sheep spawn only in certain areas. And to do that, we are going to select the texture we want to use. And I do that, let's bring it up here, by finding the texture that is being used in this kind of area here on the terrain. Now, I don't actually know it because I didn't build this terrain. I am using the sample terrain that came with Nature Manufacturer's Meadow. So I don't know which terrain textures are being used. So we'll look that up. There's our terrain. We're going to go into paint terrain. Here's our textures. So it's going to be this grass, right? That's going to be the one we'll use. So we'll find that. It is T ground meadow grass 01, right? So ground meadow grass 01. So we go back to Crux. We select our texture. ground, meadow, oh dear, type correctly. Meadow 01, that is the one, right? So now that's saying only apply these rules where you see this texture, right? So I could go and find the rock and say, okay, only spawn, I don't know, goats on the rocks. All right, so then we're going to add in wildlife. The wildlife creatures and NPC, other are kind of conveniences, really. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is, but we're going to treat them all as wildlife. And then we put the type of creature we want to appear. So this is going to be the wolf. So we drag, or we don't drag that in. We have to turn that into a Crux object. How do we do that? I do not remember. Perhaps under here. Create. No, that's a Crux system. Is it a right click and create? Crux, new Crux object. There we go. So we're going to do it inside here. This is a scriptable object. And here we're going to say wolf. Why is that not typing in there? Come on. Wolf. Now we put the game object in here. So put the game object up there. And while I'm at it, I'm going to rename that to wolf Crux object so that they appear next to each other in the list. Could of course put this somewhere else, but I'm just leaving it next to it for now. Spawn rarity, I'm going to leave it as common for now because I want to see a lot of them. In fact, I'm going to put it up to common is the highest because I want to see a lot of them. I'll lower it down later to probably rare for the wolves. Population cap, well, I want loads. Now, I don't know why it's limited to 20. I guess it's per spawner. It is per spawner. You can do multiple of these, or you can just go in the code and increase it, which is what I've done in the past. We don't want a high offset. We want it to appear on the ground. You can affect how high up and how low down it will appear. In this case, I just want it to appear wherever. All right, so it's a land version. A land creature, I should say, and we definitely want to do group spawning because they're pack creatures, of course. I don't want them to be over 50 feet, I want them or meters. I want them over 30 meters, and I want, say, 3 to maybe 6 appearing together. Actually, I think 6 is probably too many. Let's make it 2 to 4. My daughter is an expert on wolves. She would tell me exactly what I wanted, but that'll do for now. So that now is it can be spawned by Crux. So we go to our Crux system again, and we drag that object in to here. Okay. Now, I should now be able to hit play and fly around this scene and see wolves spawning. So I should have turned off maximize on play so we can see it. But I'll do that in a moment. Oh, we're not on maximize on play. Good. So are we seeing wolves spawning? We are. You see, there's a whole bunch of wolves spawned in the scene. And there is a couple that have spawned together. They're not started wandering yet. They may be just outside sight of the camera, so they're not actually moving yet. It's part of the optimization. That's my guess. Let's have a look. Oh, there they go. They are moving now. Okay, there's no sheep for them to hunt just yet, but we are spawning in. Now, this automated camera that's flying around right now, that is looking for interesting things to look at. So it generates a bunch of random waypoints that it can wander around, but each of these wolves actually has a waypoint on it as well. And so there is a reasonable chance that the camera will go and find us a wolf. We're going to stop it, though, because I want to create sheep as well, because the wolves need to eat, right? So new Crux object. This is going to be sheep. We're going to drag our sheep object in. We're going to give it a name sheep. And we'll make these common too. Population cap, we'll make it terrain. We'll bring the wolves down a little bit after we've set things up. AI type land, group spawning, yes, because they're a flock animal. 50 meters is probably about right. And let's say between 10 and 20 in a sheep. Why did that go down to 8? Okay, I'll leave it at 8. I'm not sure whether maybe I typed it and didn't realize. I don't know. So now when I hit play, we should get a bunch of sheep and a bunch of wolves. Now we're only going to get a maximum of 20 sheep, which is, it's not really enough. Oh, I didn't set it up in the actual Crux object, did I? So we go here and we can add in our sheep. I guess actually thinking about it, do we get 20 per one of these? Let's try that out. Actually, let's leave it just as it is for a moment. We'll try it out afterwards. I'm thinking that maybe if I put 2 sheep Crux objects, I'll get 40. That would actually make sense. But we'll see. So we should see a bunch of sheep, and we do. There is a sheep. So our camera is heading off. Let's see where our camera is going. Follow target, steering rig. He's not going to one of the animals at the moment. So let's go into our camera mode. All right, so let's fly around. Look out for sheep, folks. The rocks look like sheep, don't they? There's some. And there's a wolf hunting them as well, by the looks of it. I know, just a wolf running. But we found wolves. Another wolf. There's 3 wolves together. Perhaps idling a little bit longer. Should probably reduce the idle time on those. Let's see if we can find any sheep. Now there are animals spawning around me as I fly around. There's some sheep. So those sheep weren't there a moment ago, right? Because my camera was too far away. When my camera came into an area, it spawned them. So you should never see them actually spawning and unspawning, despawning. But there should always be a constant changing set of wildlife. So now we can go repeat that exercise multiple times, which I will do in a few minutes. I'll do it one more time with perhaps the deer, just to get good at it. Because as I say, it's a while since I've used this. Deer, now this one, can I... Let's make that the deer doe. And I'm going to drop the object in and give it a name. And this time, let's have a look over the settings that we've got. We probably don't want quite so many of these, and we don't want them to be common. Let's make these rare. And they're land. Okay, that's all good. Okay, go into Crux. These can be in the same place. That's fine. We'll add... Now, how do I make... Oops. I wonder how I make deer and doe... deer and... does and stags appear together. I think what I would have to do is create a single prefab that had a deer and a stag in it. And then just instantiate that as a single object. I don't know if that would work or not. But this is kind of typical of some of the limitations of Black Horizon's work. He's kept it simple. Right? I don't mean this to be highly critical of his work. Let's put this in play and see what happens. He's kept it simple, and that's fair enough. It is easy to get things going. The best stream for your morning coffee. Wow, Christopher, you can put up with me before you've had your morning coffee? That's high praise indeed. Thank you very much. So what we've been doing is we've improved on what we did last week, where we had our wolves attacking the sheep, but the sheep weren't running away. Well, now they run away. We've also improved the animation effects of the wolves. We haven't got some of the attacking mid-air kind of things that were going on last week. We do still have a problem, though. in the wolves do run to the sheep and they run after the sheep, but as soon as they get within a certain range, they stop running, and the sheep keeps running, and so the sheep they just kind of amble alongside, almost like they're escorting the sheep. They do eventually catch them because they walk a little bit faster, but it's strange, and I've got to figure out why that's happening. We've also, and what we're testing at the moment, is added in Crux. So Crux is a procedural spawner for AI, and what it's doing right now is it's spawning sheep, deer, and wolves all around the camera, and we will eventually see them. So is it Pegasus that I'm using for camera? No, it's not. It's way better than Pegasus. I love Pegasus, don't get me wrong. I do use Pegasus. The limitation of Pegasus, for those who don't know, Pegasus is a camera automation system, and it will do something like what this appears to be doing now. But what you have to do is you have to define the path it's going to follow. And that's no use for this, because what I want the camera to do is wander around and find interesting things. So what this works as, and I'll just minimize this so we can see it a little bit. Just before I go on to that, here is the sheep that are spawning and disappearing with the Crux controller. So those will change constantly. Now, each of these sheep and spawners and so on, actually they don't have waypoints on them, do they? Because I imported the new ones in, and so they've been overwritten. So those don't have waypoints on, but there are these waypoints down here which are randomly generated. And what the camera is doing is it's going to one of these waypoints that's been selected, and it's navigating using a product, an asset called Sensor Toolkit. It is in the sale right now. I will paste you a link because it is fantastic, and it is $10 in the sale. It is well worth the $20 full price, but at the current price, it is an absolute bargain. I'm just finding my affiliate link. I must make that clear. I have to be fair to everyone and tell you this is an affiliate link that I'm about to post. If you buy anything with this link, I get a tiny cut, and it gives me my morning coffee. But that is, if you click on that, it will fire up my affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does mean if you buy anything, then I get a little cut. So I would appreciate it if you do click on it, even if you don't intend to buy that particular asset. But if you're trying to give your affiliate money to somebody else, just be aware that is an affiliate link. So what it's doing is it's navigating around using a combination of the waypoints and the sensor toolkit. And unfortunately, what we've seen here, it hasn't done anything like fly through trees, but it looks amazing when you go into trees with it. It just navigates around the trees and finds a path, and that's all sensor toolkit that does that. So it's a little bit like Pegasus, but it's entirely random how it works. You can put waypoints into the scene. So last week, if you watch the video from last week, I do that. I put waypoints on the animals, and then the camera flies around and looks at the animals. I've replaced the animals in this and forgot that I'd done that, so it isn't working right now. All right, so seems I already got it. Well, there you go. You already have it. Excellent. It did come in a recent Humble Bundle. So yeah, you're probably right. You probably picked it up in the Humble Bundle. Just try it. It's awesome. The code that I've written to do this, I should make it available open source. Nag me in comments on one of my videos to remind me if you're interested in it. I'm perfectly happy to make it available under open source so you can use it. The reason I haven't done it yet is because it requires Sensor Toolkit, and that requires you to spend a little bit of money. But if you've already got it, you're sorted. I'm actually going to let this continue to play for a moment because I think it might be about to go into those trees. So you'll see it here. This first one is a sapling and doesn't have a collider on, so it will do that. But when it gets to a larger tree, it will navigate around the trees and through the trees. You can, of course, put colliders on all of the objects, and it will then fly around and avoid all of the trees. So there we go. It's deciding. Oh, I think it's actually just changed its. Yeah, it did. It turned around. So it's changed it, the waypoint it's going to there. It actually reached its waypoint. But we are heading towards a tree, so you will see it. Let me just move this and put it in maximize. So it'll go, you can control the distance it takes, but it just, in this case, it's able to go quite close. And then it'll go round it. It goes up to 2 meters in the wrong direction in order to get round its obstacles. And then it'll go back on course. Now, I do sometimes put, there is an invisible item in front of us that we're following with the camera here. And what I sometimes do is I put a bird or a butterfly or a fairy or something like that there. And that looks super cool, that it's flying around and doing its thing. All right, so that's enough of watching the camera move around. So Christopher, if you do, if you would like that code, since you have Sensor Toolkit, or if anybody else has Sensor Toolkit and wants the code, or will buy Sensor Toolkit and wants the code, just nag me in the chat and tell me you're interested. Not this chat, because I will forget. I have ADHD and I won't remember anything that goes on in chat here. But if you make a comment on a random video or on wherever, blah, 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 I think you get the point. All right, so birds. Next thing is we need birds. So I'm going to paste another link. Again, this is going to be an affiliate link, but this is another of my favorite background AI assets, and this is also in the sale and is also worth the money. Yeah, Christopher, I figured somebody would say yes. I mean, come on, you already own it. Why not have a look at it? Do nag me, because like I say, there's a very good chance I won't remember that I promised to do it, and you know, that's not because I don't intend to. It's because I'm scatterbrained. So that link there, again, it's an affiliate link. So if you do click on it, blah, blah, blah. This is for BirdFlock. I've already imported BirdFlock, I think. Yes, I have. BirdFlock is fantastic. It's an old asset, and it has some limitations to it, but it is by far the best of the bird assets out there. And let's do the crows, because the crows are quite big and you can see them. So let's go into the prefabs, and you have all these different options here. We're going to go with wild synced, I think, and we're just going to drop it into the scene. That's not my scene view, that's my game view. Let's drop it into my scene. Now, what you get here is, again, I've got, oh, this time I was just being stupid. I didn't have the gizmo selected. The blue box is the space in which the birds will flock, and the outer blue box, the light blue, and the inner blue box is the actual space the flock is in. So you basically just want to position this, say there. That's near my start point, and all I have to do now is hit play. And if I put, rather than let the camera fly around, I'll put my photo session camera on. There is a very large flock of birds right in front of us. And that's it. We're done. All right. If you come in close, the models are reasonable, but they're background AI, right? They're not amazingly good. I don't know how close I can get while they're flying. I suppose I can pause it. Oops. But we have motion blur on the camera, so it's not ideal. I could do it in the scene view though, can't I? That's a lot of crows. Let's just unselect it. So there you go. You can see the models are reasonable. They're not amazing models, but you don't get it for the models. They're background. Now, you can do really cool things like make them land and do all sorts of things. So I could make these trees have branches, and they'll occasionally fly in and land and stuff. I actually think there's too many in that flock, but that's okay. We'll sort that out in a minute. So now we want to make it that they will spawn with Crux. So we can go. I've just realized something that I did earlier. I put all of the Crux object definitions inside of the imported wildlife project, which is not a good idea, because I could inadvertently wipe it out as I did with my changes to the wildlife earlier on. So let me just do this. Data. And then we'll go in here and say folder Crux. And we're going to drag those in. Oh, drops them in the wrong spot. There we go. And then we're going to make another Crux object for our crows. We're going to call this crows. And we're going to go to our crow prefabs. We're not going to go wild synced. We'll just go wild. I think that was my error, picking the wild synced ones. There's no icon for those, so we'll tell it to use a Crux icon for it. Oh, you have to drag one in. I thought it provided a default. But that doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about that for now. Spawn rarity, we'll make these common, I think. Population cap, we want this low because remember each one has a whole bunch of crows in it. Now this is going to be over an area of, depending on how I have my Crux system set up, of about 150 meters. Now I need this to appear above the ground. Change this to air. And then the maximum, so let's bring the minimum down to maybe 9 and the maximum up to maybe 13. We don't want group spawning on this one. I believe I can create a new biome. Create new biome. Yeah, there we go. Let's name that first one. This is the ground grasslands. This is going to be the birds. Okay, good. So now I can go into my birds, and here I want to add a texture, and I'm going to add the grasslands 01. So meadow grass 01 was that one, wasn't it? Looks the wrong color. There we go. It was that one. All right. And then what is the name of the texture in the trees? It's probably that one. Yeah, forest ground grass 01. So we're also going to say that this one can go in forest ground. Keep hitting the wrong keys. Ground grass was in there as well. There it is, that one. So this one is going to appear where either of those two appear. I think it's either. It might be an and. Yeah, it detects these textures. That sounds like an and. So we might find that we don't get any. Let's test it and find out. And we're going to want to put our Crux object in there and hit play and see what we get. There's some birds. They are spawning, looking good. Let's go into fly mode and fly around, see what we see. There we go. That's a big flock of crows. I don't know that you see quite that many crows together, but clearly it is spawning over grass alone, not just forest, because because they spawned. All right, so that's cool. And I don't actually have my headphones on, but I am assuming that you can hear The sound, let's go over close. There is sound comes with them, so I just don't know if I've got it routed to the audio. Don't think I have. Okay, no worries. I'm not going to mess with that right now. I forgot that there might be sound in this stream. So now let's put some sparrows in. So create Crux, new Crux object, sparrows, Crux object. And then we're going to go find our sparrow flock. There is another bird flock asset, which is tropical birds, which I have used in my tropical scenes. I created a pretty good, I believe is a pretty good, sorry, let's just lock that. I believe is a pretty good Gaia biome for the texture pack, for the tropical pack. And when I chucked this in with the tropical birds, it was really good. It made a huge difference. All right, let's put these on free roam. What's the difference? Dunno, can't remember. Just remember that I preferred the sparrows on free roam. So sparrow flock. We can, of course, go into this object and customize the number of birds and that kind of thing that appear in there. We're going to make common, yeah, population cap. We'll make these a bit more common because they're smaller and less intrusive. These are air. We probably want these to come in a bit lower. Let's put these down at, say, minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5. Okay, go to our Crux object. Oh, I locked it, didn't I? There we go. And then we'll have the same spawn rules for these just because it makes it quick and easy. We can fine tune later, get it working first, and then improve second and third and fourth and fifth. So now we should have 2 types of bird in our scene. We seem to... Oh, you know what? That isn't spawned, is it? That's the one I put in manually. Let's make sure we are spawning. Did nobody spot that? Certainly didn't tell me in chat. But we spotted it eventually, so we're good. Now, let's not maximize. Let's make sure we are spawning. Remember, I was worried that the texture mapping might be an and rather than an or. So let's see what's happening. We are seeing a sparrow flock. So that's good. There is a sparrow flock somewhere in this lot. So let's put this into fly mode and see if we can find some birdies. I'm not seeing any. Let's just put it into a mode where we can see what's going on. Oh, it's despawn. Oh, no, it's there. There is the sparrow flock. No, I can't see what's on there. And there, where is the camera relative to this? Okay, behind and to my right. Somewhere over that way. There they are. At least there's the shadow. Is that the birds or the shadows? Both. There we go. And we also have sheep there. What a lovely picture. Let's put that on maximize. And let's just take a photo. There we go. We have a photo. I'll show you that in a minute. But there we go. We have no wolves eating the sheep. So that's probably a good thing, given I just took a photo. I'm a little worried that I'm not seeing more birds because I think I put them on common, right? Getting plenty of sheep. I'm wondering if that is the textures thing. Let's just test that. It might just be that it doesn't want to spawn any then, because it's done randomly. So let me just try removing the forest one. See if we get any more appearing as a result of doing that. So we do have wolves, we have crows have come in. There's a sparrow flock come in now. So I do think that maybe that is an and, not an or, which is what I would need to do therefore is I want my crows to be where the trees are, but my sparrows can be where the hedgerows are. And so I would probably create a separate Crux object, or Crux biome rather, which just has the forest textures, and let the crows spawn over the forests, and that would be okay because they'd still fly out beyond the forests, and they'd still they would still be seen outside of those areas. If you look down here, here is my crows, here's my sparrows. I don't think we can see any sheep or anything because they don't have gizmos that come up, but if we highlight them, of course, we will see, we should see, there we go, that's the center of the sheep, and the wolves are over here. And of course we could put the wolves among the sheep, and then it would be dinner time. We see something in the distance there. You see that, I believe, is a lone sheep wandering around. It's got lost from the flock. Going to get picked off by the wolves eventually. Oh no, there's another one there. Another one up here, so it was just spread out a little bit. Drag a sheep in here, which is changing the waypoint for that camera, and it is now going to head off to the sheep. So it isn't detecting it automatically at the moment, because I'm pretty sure it's a layers problem that I had, that my AI are on the wrong layer, or rather my steering rig is not looking on the layer that the AI is on. So I can set that up. So we're going into the trees. Let's speed up the camera. This is going to be an interesting test as well, because in theory, it should work perfectly well, even at a higher speed, when navigating through the trees. But in practice, I've never tried it. Put up to 400 and see what we get. So it's flying quite high here, so it's just going to go through the branches quite happily. We would hit that tree. There you go. Nicely dodged the tree, and then it's going to weave to the right to get past that one. So I love it. I think it's really pretty cool. And there are the sheep we're heading to. Oh, there's some birds there. Excellent. It's getting to be a nice populated world. What do you think, chat? Is this moving on nicely? Let's see if we can make the wolves eat the sheep. Let's just play this so we can see what's happening. The wolves will attack, but then they won't stop to eat. And then you get this here. They chase the sheep, but when they're close enough, they just start walking again. Right? So they kind of escort them and then nibble them until they die. So I want to try and fix that too. And one of the things I did to try and solve that was I made them run everywhere. He's running on the spot over there for some reason. That's a good example of why I don't like Emerald. It does weird stuff like that. Emerald is great for quickly testing stuff out, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to create the background AI to see if I like the scene in my actual game with the AIs wandering around. If I do it for real, I'll implement the same AI in my own code, and optimize it and do all the things you need to do for a game. But this allows me to test it quickly and easily. So, a couple of things I want to do. First of all, make the wolves walk. So I changed that to walk. So now they won't run everywhere. Hi there, SHM 2030. That's a long way off in the future. Yeah, so they still ran. They slowed to a walk when they got close. So we've got the run going on, but they're still slowing to a walk and a fair bit of sliding there as well. So probably want to sort that out too. So I think the one I'm most bothered about at the moment is the fact that they just keep hunting the sheep until they've eaten them. Now I've never done this. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah, need system display, Emerald AI need system. There we go. How I knew that, I don't know. I must have read it somewhere and it lodged somewhere in my brain. All right, searchable layers. Let's put them on the AI layer for now. Search radius, we'll leave all those the same. Blah, blah, blah. Resource settings. Starting resource. Resources full threshold. Resource usage. Resource low threshold, resource refill multiplier, gather events, depleted resource kills, control whether or not the AI will die if they run out of the resources. Yeah, well, let's try that. Maximum resource waypoints controls the amount of time in seconds it will take for an AI to die after their current resource amount reach zero. Why is that called maximum resource waypoints? That's weird. Alright, not worry about that anyway for now. So if I hit play, what happens? Let's maximize that. Current, it's gone down. Let's have a look at what's happening here. All right, so this is really limited, this need system, isn't it? I can only have one layer that they're going to look for. Why can't I use tags? That would be much more realistic. They're not going and eating, but I suspect that is because they're not hungry enough right now. Maybe. Max resource waypoints is 5. Idle animation index. Why has it got idle animation index? It knows what the idles are. Oh, I see. Is that the... Oh, I don't know. Should read the instructions. Controls the idle animation that will be used when wandering, not looking for resources. So I can set up a whole bunch of idles, but I can only use one if it has a need system. Ugh. I don't like this need system in Emerald. I've already found 2 very significant limitations. I don't like it. Gather animation index, so I can create an animation for specifically for eating, so that's fine, but how do I find it? What's the index? It's an idle animation. So the eating has to be an idle animation. Okay. Starting resources 3, resources full threshold 30, resource usage controls how many resources are used and the AI's needs are updated. Resource low controls the threshold at which the AI will generate new waypoints. Alright, so if I up that, let's make them always hungry. Actually, let me start the scene again, see what's going on. So make them always hungry. And the refill multiplier. Alright, so I think starting resource, let's make it really low. I think that should now make them eat. Let's see. No, they're still going and attacking. They're going to massacre all the sheep before they start eating. Or are these sheep not on the AI level, maybe? Okay, so they're definitely not eating, are they? Nope. And that sheep's escaped, look. Lucky sheep. If I was to put a cube in, like so, and if I put that into, let's call it item, and then I go back to my wolf, and I'll just pick one of them, go and find the need system, change that to item. That will now, I believe, go to that cube. Yep, there you go. So he's eating the cube. So I had it set up right, but because these sheep are on the AI layer, so they go and hunt them, they see them as enemies. When they're dead, they just see them as dead enemies. They don't see them as food. So what I would have to do is have a hook into the on death on these and change the layer to be food. So I guess that's okay. I'm not sure why the system can't do it. Maybe it can. Maybe there's a setting in there somewhere. But that's how it works. So another, for me, not a very intuitive way of working, but maybe that's just me. There are more ways of getting things right. So maybe I should just do that. I want to do it. Let's do it. It's a simple script, right? So what I'm going to do, convert, no, let's call it sheep controller. And I probably want to put that in a runtime folder. It seems I'm getting used to this idea of calling things runtime and editor rather than scripts and editor. Let's bring that up. So I'm not going to bother with namespaces. Don't hate me for it. This is just a quick test. I will resolve it if I stick with this. Public on. Oh, it's going to be an int, not an int. It's a void on death. Whoops. I'm being clumsy with my typing because people are watching. Well, I'm sure you're not actually watching me type, but it's on death. Debug.log. I died. Put that on the sheep. Okay, and then I need to hook that into the death event. Where is the death event? There, events. Combat, presumably. And detect, on attack, take damage, do damage, critical, kill target, flee, death. There it is. So it's going to be itself. And that's going to be sheep controller on death. All right. So we should now get that coming up. Why are these guys not attacking? Why are they not running? All right. So there's some dying. I'm not sure why that took quite so long. Right. So we should, if I go to the console now. Yeah, I died. Okay, so we're calling that. So now I just need to change the layer to, I made it item, didn't I? Which is going to be, let's check what layer number that is, 30. So in my sheep controller, now this is not something I have done a great deal. This is going to be game object. It's going to be set layer, surely. Yeah. And it's going to want in. Would that be 30? Is that right? It is layer number 30. Can I just do that? I know it's a bitwise thingy-majoggy. I believe it is. Why don't I just try it? Why is he walking on the spot? Why are the sheep sitting there? So Emerald is starting to be really weird. This is why I don't use Emerald in my game. Great for fast prototyping. Pretty awful. Now, the question is, has that sheep changed its layer? Where is it? Where's the dead sheep? Must be behind there, yeah. Yes, it has. Now that should be food. Ignore the fact it says item because we're just going quick here. That should now be food. And so a hungry wolf, and I only set one up correctly to do that. And he's probably going to have eaten that stuff over there. So let's remove the cube from the scene. Let's go find the hungry wolf. Oh, you can look at multiple things on different layers, so that helps. He's currently got 30, so we don't want him to do that. Let's increase resource usage. That should make him hungry. So, is he... Which one is he? Oh, he's that one that's right next to it. So he may have already eaten while we weren't looking. No. Not yet. Oh, I keep meaning to take it off maximize. There we go. So he's walking away. He's supposed to be coming back and eating it. All right, so we are converting all these things to food now. Let's check that is the case. Yeah, item. But the wolves still don't seem to be eating them. It worked when it was a cube. It doesn't seem to be working now. Let me make sure all the wolves are hungry. I don't know why I'm persevering with this because we've already decided I don't like this need system. But yeah, I guess I'm just stubborn like that sometimes. And you know, to be fair, I shouldn't make a snap decision on the need system, should I? I should at least check I understand how it's working. Oops, misclick. All right, so how have I got this set up? Just item. Let's give it a massive search radius. Make sure that we actually hit it. Update resource frequency, max resource. So this wander thing is going to override the wander I've already set in the AI. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? Why did it do that? This is a wolf. It's supposed to have a massive range. I mean, I can do that, I guess, but update frequency, max resource waypoints, idle animation index, leave those as they are. Starting resource, so they're going to start hungry and always be hungry. All right, so let's do the same thing with these. In fact, let me just copy that one across. It's going to be faster. I should have done that the first time. So take both of those and copy those values in. And then hit play. Yolan says, game has some good stuff, but Malbur... Oh, we've looked at that one. Malbur all the way. Adam Hayes agrees with the Malbur approach. Oh, Christopher, you don't have game, but it looks more realistic. I agree. I think the models are better. I think the AI, as I mentioned earlier, the animations, as I mentioned earlier on, are not necessarily better. Now, are they going... They're all going to the cube. So they're ignoring the sheep that they just killed and going to the cube. Why is that? The cube is just a thing with a collider on the item layer. I bet Emerald has turned off the colliders. Yeah. Emerald's turned off the colliders, so I need to turn the collider back on. Sheep controller. So we'll do get component. We won't bother caching it for now. Now, is this going to happen before or after they turn off the collider, I wonder? We'll soon find out. So let's take that cube out to keep things simple. So on the GIM models, Luke Johnson, who's somebody on our Discord, has got a couple of the GIM models, and he commented on my video from last week saying that he's going to use it to wire up the GIM models. So hopefully we'll get some videos of what it looks like from an actual user, which I always find is useful. He's pretty good with the stuff that he does. He's very modest. Saying, I don't really know how to do this, but some of the stuff he does, it looks great. He's still learning to write games. Well, that's great. That's not a problem. We're all doing that. Well, I am. Sure, maybe some of you are accomplished, but I'm still learning. But some of the visuals he creates are really good. So I'm looking forward to see what he does with that. I wish I knew how I could stop them from just walking when they get up with the sheep. I think it's because they're in attack range and they're doing this really weird behavior here. Right, so are they actually going to go eat the sheep? Well, first of all, have I successfully turned the collider back on? No, Emerald AI is still turning the collider off. All right, I'm going to give up on that one because this is just frustrating. There should be a checkbox somewhere. Maybe there is. Maybe I should look. But I've had nightmares with Emerald and colliders before. Let's see. Optimization. I guess it could be in there. Disable when off screen. Multiple loads. Nothing there. It's not going to be in combat. It's not going to be in items. No, I don't think there's anything. I'm going to search in the documentation, which I still have open on the other screen. So, collider. Nope, no mention anywhere in their documentation of the word collider other than in their issue tracker. Oh no, sorry. There's 11 mentions of the word collider. None of them are useful for this situation. All right, so I'm not going to bother with that. I'm not fighting with Emerald AI over things like this. I don't like the need system. I don't like the way I can't control what happens on death and things like that. I've already put in code to turn it back on, and they're turning it off afterwards. I guess that's just an order of execution thing, but surely my code should go last so that I can override what's happening. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put a breakpoint on my code and see where it's being called. At least they give you the source code, right? And if this was a DLL, I wouldn't even use it for testing at this point. Because I wouldn't be able to fix anything like this. And he's made his design decisions, and I don't agree with them, but you got to assume he's made his decisions for good reason. So let's have a look at the call stack, see where it comes from. Dead state. Yeah, you see, he calls it right at the beginning. Why would you do that? Call it at the end, where I've got some control over what's happening. If I move that line to there, presumably, as long as I don't do anything daft. I mean, that's what he's doing, isn't it? He's making sure I don't do anything daft in there that breaks his system. Fine, but my game isn't about his system. My game is about what I want to build. So I should have the last say in everything, in my opinion. Tell me in chat if you think I'm being unreasonable with that. Is there another way that can be done? Well, there are. We can do things like dependency injection, but I don't want to get involved with that kind of nonsense. Right, let's have a look at this sheep. It is now active. So if I let this run through, I don't like that they go kill all the other AIs first. They're supposed to be hungry. So they're supposed to be, one would have thought that they would make their hunger needs higher priority than killing the sheep if food is available, which it is because they've killed sheep. But they're just going to run themselves to death trying to find more sheep. This is the kind of strange decision, and the fact that I can't resolve this now. Are they going to eat? Let's find out. No, they are once again just walking away, unless there may be code in them, because they are going back to where the sheep are. So maybe there's code in them that remembers, because there is that setting for maximum number of waypoints. Nope, they're all dead. Awesome. They did literally run themselves to death rather than eat the food that they've already got. Where at least we've got some of these things working. I can stop them from dying. Don't die when you run out of food, which is of course not very realistic, but I want to see it working, right? Okay. Once again, they're going to run them down. That one looks like it's got away. What are they going to do? Are they going to eat? So they're not going to the one that's nearest. That's another problem with it. But they are going to eat. They're going to go to the order in which they've seen them, I think. Yep. Are they eating? Let's have a look. Yep, it's going up. They're eating. I didn't put an animation in. That's my fault. There is a place to do it. I've not seen anything about controlling how far away from the food they are. And why is he walking whilst he's eating? Yeah, he's still eating. So it might be because I haven't put an animation in, so he's not had anything to switch to. So that might be my fault. All right, so he's doing. Oh no, he's still eating. It's going up to 64. So the other thing that I don't like about this is the food is permanent. Although I think there's a gather event, so I could have it reducing the food. I'm going to need a controller on the wolf that then gets the object that is just eaten. This can be used to run external code to add items to inventories or increase custom variables. So I would have to somehow get a reference to the thing that is eaten, which this class is going to know about, so that's okay. And then I would have to destroy the object. Okay.
So that's pretty easy to do. We'll do that at some point in the future. What do you want to see next? That was the end of that stream, but I try and stream every week. So let me know in the comments what you think would be good to see, what I should play around with, what I should try and achieve. See you soon.